In today's episode, we dive into three emotionally complex and thought-provoking stories that have captured the attention of many. From a woman grappling with her boyfriend's past to a sister caught in the middle of a messy breakup, these narratives shed light on the intricate dynamics of love, trust, and personal growth. Each story is unique in its own way, but they all raise important questions about judgment, boundaries, and the impact of past actions on relationships. Let's take a closer look at how these individuals navigated through challenging situations and the lessons we can all learn from their experiences. So grab a snack and get comfy, because things are about to get messy.
Our first story is from r/best of Redditor updates. I am a 30-year-old female. My boyfriend, a 31-year-old male, killed a man 10 years ago. How do I get my mum to accept him? I met David about 6 months ago. I met him through friends and we clicked and became good friends pretty fast. One night, when we were drinking, we began talking about the past. He told me he had been admitted to a psych hospital for a couple of years and then told me he had killed a friend in a psychotic break and had been all over the news media. His story was all over the place when it happened, so I recognized him when he told me. I just hadn't made the connection. His sentence was to undergo psychiatric treatment, and he's on medication now and really regret doing it. He tells me it was like a dream, and he remembers it as such. He was also on a lot of drugs at the time. He's completely different now, and I trust him. He's the sweetest guy I've ever met, and to be honest, I can't connect him to that person who was all over the media. Well, we started dating a month ago, and I brought him home to meet my mother yesterday, and she recognized him. She didn't say anything to his face, but called me today. She was completely freaking out and telling me I can't date a murderer. I told her what I've told you. He was psychotic. He's not the same person who did that, and he's heavily medicated with no intentions of stopping, but she was just completely freaking out, telling me she feared for my safety, and she wouldn't have anything to do with him, and I had to leave him immediately. I told her that wasn't going to happen, and she said that as long as I'm dating him, she doesn't want to see me, and he's ultimately going to kill me. I understand completely that she's fearful and anxious about the situation, but I still think she's overreacting. It wasn't a deliberate murder, and it honestly annoys me to no end that she thinks that I'm not able to judge his character. I don't know. How do I get my mum to accept this situation? Am I just doomed to not see her again? A lot of people told me things I didn't want to hear, like I couldn't judge a person after knowing him for 6 months, which I still kinda think you can, just not as much as I hoped. I guess some people expect something crazy to have happened, but nothing really has. He just wasn't as empathetic as I thought. I realized pretty quickly that if I didn't call him first, he wouldn't call me for days. And when I told him I had a very unpleasant encounter with a guy, he just laughed and told me that if it were him, he would be happy to get the attention. And I just couldn't get over that he killed a guy, honestly. When I was laying in bed and he was doing something else, I couldn't stop thinking about how vulnerable I was. I didn't feel safe, so I broke up with him. I still think he deserves happiness, and to move on from what he did, but I'm not the one for him and I can't help him. My mum was very relieved when I told her we broke up. I didn't tell her why, just that it didn't work out. And although she didn't cut me out of her life like she threatened, she's been a lot warmer towards me since. About the breakup, he actually took it so well that I don't think he was ever really in love with me. It was basically me breaking up and him saying, "You got to do what's best for you, so I wish you good luck." I'm kinda heartbroken that I apparently didn't mean that much to him, but I'm still fine. We still talk though, which is probably stupid, but he's a fun guy to talk to, and I don't feel like I can judge him for doing something while on a psychotic breakdown. Also, as I stated in the last thread, he has no intentions of stopping with his medication. He knows he needs it for the rest of his life, and as long as he follows that, he'll probably continue to be in my life.
Hey, OP. It's understandable that your mom is reacting out of fear and concern, but it's also important to communicate your own feelings and boundaries clearly. Try to calmly explain to her that you've thought about the situation carefully and that you trust your judgment about David, especially since he's on medication and has worked on his mental health. Acknowledge her concerns, but also let her know that you are making decisions based on what feels right for you. As for David, it's okay to take a step back if you're feeling unsure or vulnerable. Trust your instincts, and if being around him makes you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, it's important to prioritize your well-being. Focus on your own emotional healing, and remember that it's okay to take time to figure things out.
Our next story is from r/best of Redditor updates. Do I need to work with the woman my father had an affair with? I am employed by a non-profit that works with low-income students. I love my job and think my doing it has a positive impact on others. I like my boss and co-workers. We also have an employee who kind of works as an assistant who does data input and organizes our lecture schedules. We are hiring a new person for that position, and our manager sent us a short list of people she was considering. She asked us if we had any input prior interaction with the candidates. The problem is, I do, and I don't know how to broach it with her. I don't think I can work professionally with one of the candidates. Let's call her Cersei. We used to be friends and she was my roommate for a brief time, including when I was hired by this organization, so they know I know her. However, a few months ago I walked in on Cersei and my father having sex. It turned out that they had been having a full-blown affair for as long as we'd been roommates. Apparently one of the reasons she'd moved in with me was to be closer to him. I've completely cut Cersei out of my life. My father is obviously also complicit, but my mum is staying married to him, so I don't really trust myself to interact with her without going all Septa Unella shame on her. And now there's a chance she's going to be hired into a position I'd have to frequently work with her in. My questions are these. The manager asked us to tell her if we had any input on the hiring decision. What do I say? Do I have the grounds to say anything? Because I actually think Cersei's a decent fit for the position, but there's no way in hell I can work with her. If Cersei is hired, how can I work with her? Because I love this job and don't want Cersei to be the reason I quit. And unfortunately, Cersei was hired by another department my job has some overlap with, so I have to see her more than I'd like. To be fair, I'd never like to see her, but every week or so is definitely too much. I'm professional when I have to interact with her, even though I wish I could ignore her. It would definitely be too apparent to co-workers if I were cold to her. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference, and I'm working on becoming indifferent to her. Luckily, she should be finishing her program this spring. I was pretty active in the comments on this, and I really can't express just how grateful I am for the advice and kindness of so many people. I was really struggling with feelings of isolation, like I had to bear this secret by myself, and it was a profound relief to get to talk about it. The professional and life advice HQ's input I received were absolutely incredible. A few weeks after I wrote, I ended up sitting down to have a conversation with Cersei. In the immediate aftermath of discovering the affair, she told me that she'd be open to talking whenever I was ready. I felt ready, and my therapist supported me, so I reached out. It was a frustrating conversation, but one I'm glad I had. She didn't have good answers to the questions I had, but there were also no good answers to the questions I had. I hope that makes sense. There's still a lot of grief and sadness I'm still dealing with, and I'm working on letting my life continue. My parents are still kind of together, and I intend to stick by my mum wherever she goes from here.
Hey, OP. It's understandable that this situation is incredibly complicated and painful for you, especially considering the personal betrayal involved. It's important to prioritize your own mental health and well-being in this situation. Since you mentioned that you don't feel comfortable working with Cersei and that it would affect your ability to perform well in your job, it's essential to be honest with your manager about your feelings. You don't have to go into all the personal details, but you can explain that you have a history with her that makes it difficult for you to work closely with her. If she's a strong candidate for the position, your manager might find a solution to minimize your direct interactions with her, or at the very least, help you navigate the professional side of things in a way that doesn't cause you emotional distress. Also, it's okay to take time to process your feelings and allow yourself to heal, even if it means distancing yourself from her. You've shown great self-awareness in acknowledging your need for space, and that's important for your personal growth.
Let's move to our next story from r/best of Redditor updates. I think I'm on my sister's ex-BF side in their breakup. So I am a 26-year-old female and have a little sister who is 24 years old and has been dating her boyfriend, a 25-year-old male, since they were both 17. They were high school sweethearts who did long distance during college and all that. There were a few times my sister came to me thinking she might break up with her boyfriend. She always decided to stay with him. I love my sister's now ex-boyfriend like a brother. I mean, he's been a pretty major part of our life for 7 years, and he's always been kind, protective, and supportive with my sister. Aside from some mental health issues of his own, he's been a great partner to her. Same with her, they're best friends. Truly the same people, same humor, same hobbies and interests, same morals and values, etc. My sister and her ex sat my partner and I down to chat a few days ago and told us they were broken up. My sister did all of the talking. I kept looking at her ex and he looked devastated, but didn't add much at all. My sister said that since he's been her only partner, she feels like she's missed out on other opportunities to try other relationships. She is pansexual, so she wants to try dating women and non-binary folks. She kept saying that maybe her and her ex could find their way back to each other one day. Maybe she just needed to experience other people before she could settle down with him. They are going to continue living together in their shared apartment, and they want to continue to hang out with my partner and I as a group of 4. My sister says nothing really will change in their dynamic aside from stopping all romantic gestures and such. They will be roommates and friends, nothing more. My problem with this is that her ex wasn't saying anything. When I asked him, he just affirmed they were happy with this decision. When my sister left to go to the bathroom, I asked again, and he said he didn't really have a choice. My sister just told him they were done, no further conversation about it. He said he feels like he pushed her to do this because he's been telling her for months to date a woman, but while they were still together because he didn't want to lose her. They had discussed getting engaged soon and what rings she liked many times over the past 2 years. He said he felt blindsided, but that who was he to stand in her way of exploring her sexuality? I don't like that they are going to continue to live together. I think my sister grieved this relationship and made this decision on her own over the past few months, but it is fresh for him. He still wants to be with her. He's holding on to hope she will come around soon and get back with him. I think she's moved on for good. I don't see how he will be able to get over her while they live together and continue to hang out with their friends, like nothing has really changed. I think my sister needs to let him go. She needs to cut all ties and give him space for a few months. It feels like she wants to have her cake and eat it too, like she's stringing him along as a backup in case she doesn't find whatever she is looking for. I don't know what to do. I'm torn because it's not my relationship, so I shouldn't get involved. But I also love and care for both of these people so much. The ex is going to get more heartbroken. I can just see it coming while my sister thrives. It makes me sick. What would you do? What have you done in a similar situation? Any advice for me, my sister, or her ex? My sister has never cheated on him. Our father cheated on our mother, so my sister is very against cheating. She never agreed to date a woman or anyone while still with her ex because she viewed it as cheating even with his consent. Now they are broken up, so she can't be cheating now. So many of you keep suggesting cheating, so thought I would make it clear she is not that kind of person. I love my sister and would never abandon her or actually choose a side. I'm just saying I empathize more with her ex than with her right now. I will always be by her side. She's the only family I have right now. She means everything to me. I'm just upset at her stringing him along. I think she was 100% right to break up with him for the reasons and the way she did it. The only issues I have are her continuing to live with him, saying they might make their way back together, and trying to have us all hang out like nothing has changed. Now, after a long time. I hung out with my sister a few days ago, and she told me why they really broke up. She found a picture of someone on his phone in a locked folder. The picture was of someone we both know, but wasn't inherently sexual. She refused to say who it was. My sister and her ex have had 5 fights similar to this over the span of their 7-year relationship. He has a porn addiction and tends to masturbate to pictures of other women and did not have interest in sex with my sister. He never changed or worked on it, despite promises to do so every time. I've told my sister in the past to break up with him over this, but she said it wasn't worth throwing the whole relationship away over one bad habit. Aside from his porn and sex addiction, he was a really great partner. When my sister found this picture on his phone, it truly was the last straw. They argued about it and broke up. This is vastly different from the story they told me, where they had mutually agreed to split because they were better as friends, and so my sister could explore her sexuality. This context changed everything. I asked why my sister felt the need to lie about the reason for the breakup, and she said she just didn't want me and my fiancé to hate her ex. I kept asking her who the photo was and she wouldn't budge. She also told me her ex downloaded Hinge a few days after their breakup, which I guess is fine but a little weird. He moved on so fast after 7 years. Later that day, her ex messaged me to clear his name. He was upset that my sister told me he downloaded Hinge. He sent multiple mass texts about how it was a stupid mistake and it didn't mean anything, and then he confessed to hurting my sister as the reason for their breakup. I asked him who the picture was of. He acted confused, so I asked again and he said, "Oh, now I remember," and told me it was me. My sister's ex had a photo of me in a saved locked folder. It was the only photo in that folder. He swears up and down it was an accident, and he doesn't know how it ended up there. He said his phone will just do random things like that. I checked and you have to hit 4 buttons and scroll to move pictures into those types of folders. I don't see how it could be accidental. He took a picture of me when I was over at their apartment once. I'm fully clothed in long sleeves and long pants, but I'm laying on my side next to their cat. The photo kind of shows my butt, fully covered, just the pants are tight in that area, but it's not an attractive angle at all, so I don't really see how it could get someone off. Should I be weirded out? He swears it was an accident. My sister is convinced it's intentional. My sister also told me he's said odd comments about my beauty and my body before that have always put her off, but it was nothing obvious enough to warrant a conversation. Not sure what that means, TBH. My sister doesn't trust anything he's saying anymore, but still says I shouldn't cut him out of my life. I'm getting so confused. What would you do? He's also the best man in my wedding, and my sister is the maid of honor.
Hey, OP? This situation is definitely tricky, and I can understand your confusion and concern about both your sister and her ex. First, it's important to recognize that your feelings are valid, and it's okay to feel conflicted. You care about both of them, but you also see the potential harm being done, especially with the added layer of your involvement in the whole thing. It sounds like your sister may have hidden the full reasons for the breakup initially, which could be causing confusion for both you and her ex. The new information about the photo and his possible intentions is understandably disturbing, and it's okay to feel uncomfortable. As for your role, I think the most important thing you can do right now is have honest, open conversations with both your sister and her ex, but in different contexts. With your sister, it's clear you're concerned that she might be stringing him along while still processing her own feelings. Gently encourage her to establish clear boundaries and give him the space he needs to heal. She needs to acknowledge that living together, staying close friends, and keeping things too open-ended is likely preventing him from moving on and healing. You can still support her, but it might be helpful for her to be more direct and decisive about the situation. As for your sister's ex, the photo situation is alarming and deserves a more serious discussion. Whether or not it was truly an accident, the fact that he has made odd comments about your body and put a photo of you in a private folder is concerning. It's important to take a step back and assess whether this behavior crosses boundaries and makes you feel uncomfortable. Your safety and comfort come first, and it's okay to distance yourself from him if you feel the need to do so. If you're uncomfortable with him being the best man in your wedding, that's something you need to address too, especially with your sister. You deserve to have a safe and positive environment for your special day. You don't have to choose a side in the breakup, but you do need to prioritize your own well-being and clear up any ambiguity, especially when it comes to your own boundaries. It's a delicate balance, but by communicating with both your sister and her ex, you can help everyone involved move forward with a clearer understanding of the situation. The stories we've explored today show us that relationships are never black and white. Whether it's coming to terms with someone's past, supporting a loved one through a tough decision, or understanding the complexities of moving on from a long-term relationship, each of these individuals had to face difficult truths and make tough choices. Remember, in any relationship, it's essential to prioritize your well-being, set boundaries, and trust your instincts. Thank you for joining us as we unpack these emotional journeys, and we hope you take away some valuable insights to navigate your own relationships with empathy and understanding. Let us know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful or thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more personal stories and relationship advice.